Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. Today we're going to take a look at a question that comes from Leonard Cernuch, WD5CAY, okay? Texas, Oklahoma, that area over there. He said he retired 4 years ago at 73, so he waited until he was 69 to retire. Now it's time to get back full-time into radio. I agree. Want to put up a 3-element quad. Quads are perfectly good antennas. They enjoyed a heyday about 70 years ago. They're still around. You might look at a Yagi and see if that'd be easier to deal with, but you can certainly put up a quad. Attached to my 30 by 30 steel barn on a 40-foot tower. Would like your suggestions. How far should I move the tower away to keep the signal from going straight up? Been listening as an old Augie for quite a while. Thinking of trying for the extra after being advanced since 1974. I encourage you to do that. When you took your advanced, that was the tough exam. And extra just had to do with mostly volunteer examiner types of things. Now that's changed. The extra is the tough license since there's no more advanced. I took the advanced too. Had to take it down at the FCC in about that same time frame you took yours. Says this retired life is really taking a big toll on this old coot. Well, let me tell you, Leonard, I've got to tell you, I wonder how I ever found time to work. I've got so many things going on, and you'll get that way too. I would submit that you really do need to find something, and this is general advice to retiring. Not only just live, but live for. And if amateur radio is it, then great. Maybe you can become a volunteer examiner and really get into that field, or you can get into the ARES or something like that and get really involved. So you've got really something that excites you. And you'll find that it's not so hard being retired. I have never found boredom to be a problem. There's too many things to do. With some of my recent medical problems, I haven't had enough energy to do much, but when I do get to doing things, the energy seems to come back. So, Leonard, let's take a look at your question here. You've got a barn. It's 30 by 30 feet, so it's 30 by 30. And it's 30 on the side. Okay, now I don't know how tall this structure is. You say barn, so I'm going to think that it's a fairly tall structure. So let's say 20 feet tall, okay, with a peaked metal roof like that, with some great big barn doors on the thing, okay. And so this peak could be 20 to 30 feet in the air, and you have a 40-foot tower, which will come up to there, and if you put a quad on it, it'll be pretty big next to that thing there. Now, if you were to put the tower right next to this thing would act as a reflector to some degree, and it would cause the signals on this side to go up a little bit, although on this side it won't. Okay, it acts more as a reflector on this side, so you get signals bounced this way. So how far away do you want to put it? It's probably 10 foot taller than the peak of the barn. I'd put it up against the side of the barn. Will give you a little bit of strength to hold it up. You're going to have to guy it anyway, okay? Another thing you can do is move it further away so that the guys come down to the ground. If you've got the room to do that, that might be better. This big hunk of metal here is going to tend to want to pull the signals in its direction. Now that doesn't mean it will reflect them up, but your antenna here will tend to radiate a little bit more in this direction, away from the blank side over here. The further away you get it from the barn, the less effect that will be. Okay. Now, will you still be able to rotate the quad and point it away? Yes, you certainly can do that. Or a Yagi or whatever you decide to put up there. Quads are, like I said, a little delicate and a little harder to build. They're much, much cheaper to build because you can build it yourself pretty easily. But they're a little bit delicate. And down in 5 territory, Texas, Oklahoma, places like that, you do get ice storms. And ice storms can make mush of that antenna pretty quickly. Okay, so the answer is, which is better? There's no best. The further away from the building, probably the better. If you can't get it more than 10 feet away from the building, go ahead and put it right up next to the building. Don't put it up by the peak. Put it up by one of the sides. Okay? Otherwise, if you can get it 20 to 30 feet away, then fine, and plus you'll have room for the guys and everything like that. On HF, the extra 20 or 30 feet of coax will not make much difference at all. And you're probably going to, I have a sneaking suspicion, run this with an amp, and you're going to use LMR 400 or more likely RG213. Either will work fine in this arrangement. They cost about the same. LMR 400 is a stinker to put a connector on unless you use the Times microwave tool and connectors. Those go on smooth as can be, but a classic crimp connector on LMR 400 is a struggle. And on 213, the standard crimp connectors work really well. So there, Leonard, I hope that helps answer your question. And so there you have it. If you would like to help support this channel financially, you certainly can. You can go to dcasler.com/support. And there's a variety of ways listed there that you can support, either a one-time throw something in the tip jar or a recurring tip jar. There's Patreon, which works really well. And there are just lots of things you can do. I am set up and qualified to put up YouTube memberships, but YouTube takes such a big slice out of the money, like a third, that I thought, I'm not sure I'm going to do that. Just go to Patreon. That works better. They don't take anywhere near that big a slice. I actually just received a check in the mail as a tip. That way there's no fee at all. It just comes straight to me. The address is on my website. Until we next meet, 73.